Hello everybody, it's EzraTime again here. Welcome back to another reaction videos. And today we're gonna be reacting to a film theory called the Godzilla vs Kong. They didn't want you to see, which I'm assuming there's gonna be Matpat talking about the uncut version of Godzilla vs Kong, or like I guess the unseen version of Godzilla vs Kong, which is kind of obvious from the title. And yeah, I mean from the movie, I think Godzilla vs Kong was supposed to be 5 hours long. I think that's the entire of the footage that you know when they shoot it, obviously. But the final cut was like just like you know wasn't over, but like less than 2 hours, like 113 minutes, which is okay because you got a lot of Godzilla versus Kong happening, right? Even though the human stuff kind of sucks, but yeah, who cares? I think the human drama is better than Godzilla King of the Monster. I give you that, but yeah, I still enjoy the movie. So yeah, I'm really curious to see what Mappa has to say about this unseen version of Godzilla vs Kong. So without further ado, just start the video, shall we?
And now, Film Theory presents a dramatic reading of the comments from our last Godzilla vs.
Oh,
Kong theory.
And now,
Monkey, monkey, rar, rar,
Oh my
rar.
God.
Monkey, monkey, rar,
Monkey.
rar. Monkey, monkey.
yeah, the monkey meme,
This
guys.
has
Remember
been a
that?
dramatic reading of the comments. Good evening.
Good meme. Yes, the classic logo from King Kong
Hello,
vs. Godzilla.
Internet. Welcome to Film Theory, the show that bows to no one, but will do an extremely grateful curtsy if you remember to make like a titan and smash that subscribe button. And hey, would you look at that? Ring the bell, ladies and gentlemen. We got one right. We got one really
Yeah,
right. Our
he did.
prediction theory for Godzilla vs.
won.
Kong crushed it. Like predicting every beat of the movie right on the money. How's that old saying go? Even a blind squirrel finds a nut? Well, I am buried in nuts, baby.
Ooh.
Phrasing?
But you know what? I'm not done. I'm not gonna rest on my yannies or my laurels by just predicting the movie that we got. I want to go one step further. I want to predict the movie that we didn't get. I.e., I want to
Okay.
show you the version of Godzilla vs. Kong that we didn't and probably will never get to see. I'm coming for you, WB. Scrounging around to assemble the footage that you left behind on your cutting room floor. Today we're using everything from Hollywood gossip and production team interviews to narrative themes and odd dangling threads left behind in the final product to
Yeah.
assemble the Godzilla vs. Kong movie that you never saw. The film that they didn't want you to see. Was it better? Was it worse? Well, stay tuned and let me know down in the comments below if you think that they made the right decision. So where is this theory actually coming from? Well, while watching Godzilla vs. Kong, more than a few people, myself included, noticed that it sometimes felt like this thing was shipped with a few parts missing. Oh sure, we have our essential story beats of
yeah.
lizard monkey fight, humans running away, lizard and monkey team up against evil robot, but between it all, there were plenty of lingering questions. Questions like, why aren't we following up on most of the unresolved plot threads from the previous
Yeah,
movie?
exactly.
And where did the
Serizawa.
bad guys from the previous movies go? Also this guy. I mean, everything
Franz
about this
Serizawa.
guy. Now sure, every movie shoots a lot more footage than it uses and has scenes that don't make the final cut. That's been the case like forever. But when Godzilla
Yeah.
vs. Kong director Adam Wingard says that there's enough extra footage to do a 5-hour version, yeah, I'm gonna sit up and take notice. After all, they were already in pre-production for Godzilla vs. Kong before they knew that the bigger, darker prequel King of the Monsters was a bit of a dud in terms of
yeah.
ticket sales. All of this and more begs the question, what was this movie before all the studio notes, production pauses, and pandemic delays? Now, to be fair, there is technically a bit of actual plot in this thing. Godzilla has gone all city attacky again, and this big tech company called Apex says they've figured out a special weapon that can stop him, but they need a power source to do it. That power source is hidden somewhere in the Earth's hollow core. To retrieve it, they need Kong to lead
Hollow
the way
part,
because
yeah.
of genetic memory and something about salmon spawning. Shut up, it's a Godzilla movie. On Kong's team is a little girl named Gia who can talk to Kong with sign language.
It is the best
Meanwhile,
character.
Eleven from Stranger Things returns as her Godzilla whisperer character named Madison. Apparently, she's the only person who has ever watched a movie before ever because she can tell that the big, obviously evil company is actually evil, causing Godzilla's destructive behavior with their anti-Titan weapon, the creatively named Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla, in true Neon Genesis Evangelion form, uses
Yeah.
a neural interface to bridge a human pilot with the uplinked mind of the defeated alien King Ghidorah from the previous movie. This obviously goes awry when Ghidorah's consciousness wakes up and takes over the giant robot. As predicted, Kong and Godzilla have to team up to bring him down, and in the end, everyone gets their happily ever after, except for Hong Kong, which lays utterly decimated in the
Yeah.
battle. So the first thing that should jump out to you while listening to the short plot summary is that both Titans get their own cheering section. Team Kong's Jia is a Skull Island native who communicates with her Titan via a crudely fashioned doll and sign language. Compare that to Team Godzilla's Madison, who used technology throughout both of her movies to reach the giant lizard. One mission is funded with high-end super science military tech, the other is running out of a sketchy van driven by a conspiracy podcaster. They are clearly set up to be opposite polarities, which is why it's weird when it gets to the ending and you realize that this is the first time the two teams have ever met or even known of each other's existence. What was the narrative point in making them so noticeably similar just for them to never interact? Well, that's where our mystery character comes in. See this guy? The creepy Apex henchman, chief technology officer who's always following the main villain around with the silent, I'm obviously more important than my not talking would indicate stare. Well, in the movie, as it stands, he turns out to be Mechagodzilla's pilot, until the ghost of King Ghidorah immediately electrocutes his brain and takes full control. Kind of a pointless role, right? Wrong. He's actually meant to be the son of Dr. Serizawa, the heroic scientist from the first two Godzilla movies.
Let them fight.
Now, don't feel bad if you didn't catch this one. They only say his last name like once the first time he's introduced, and his connection back to one of, if not the most important human character from the previous films goes completely unmentioned. Not in dialogue, not in reference, nothing. It's also clear that this was never meant to be a surprise reveal, considering in pre-movie interview footage, his character's full name is just laid out there on the table. So in this one character, we have ourselves the son of the guy who was obsessed with Godzilla and even died to bring the big lizard back to life in the previous movie. And now, this son of his is not only working with the guys who want to destroy Godzilla, he has literally volunteered himself to become the brain of the weapon designed to kill it. I mean, there has got to be some kind of revenge or daddy issue stuff that's been left on the cutting room floor here. You don't have to be a Hollywood screenwriter to see the whole, Dad, you missed my recital to go look for Godzilla again? Let me hop into my Megazord and take out my childhood frustrations arc totally taken shape with this character. Especially when you consider that the other main minion in this film is the corporate villain's daughter. Real daughter and his surrogate son. Whole thing is like a family affair on the villain's side. But more relevantly, if that had actually been Ren Shirazawa's character arc in the film, it would have made him and Mechagodzilla fit neatly into the mirroring dynamic that the other two Titans have with their support teams. It also works thematically. All three of these characters are dealing with loss by relating to their Titans in their own unique ways. Jia lost both her family and island, only to find comfort with her Titan. Madison's mother was one of the bad guys, and her father is well-meaning but aloof, just like the sometimes good, sometimes bad, but always elusive Godzilla. And just like Ren seeking revenge on the dino that stole his father, Mechagodzilla, or rather Ghidorah's severed head, is angry and craves revenge against the Thunder Lizard. This would also make sense with some of the casting around the movie. Back in 2017, Chinese actress Zhang Ji was cast into the Monsterverse.
Yeah,
her
Zhang Ji
actual
doesn't
role was
appear
kept
as
somewhat
well.
mysterious until the release of King of the Monsters, where it was revealed that she was actually playing two separate characters, twin sister scientists working with the Titan studying organization Monarch. This was a winking nod back to the original mythology of these monsters, where a set of twin Infant Island priestesses were traditionally associated with the Mothra mythology. And while she was supposed to be appearing in the new Godzilla vs. Kong, none of her scenes made the final cut. Now, considering that she was on Dr. Serizawa's exploration team in the earlier movie and was there when he died, the only character it would make sense for her to connect with would be Ren, possibly explaining his decision to join Apex in order to avenge his father. So, is that it? A few extra scenes fleshing out the backstory to one of the random humans, all cut for time because, let's be honest, no one cares about the human storylines in these things.
Sorry about my brother.
You know, Gia's parents were killed on the island.
It was a gift from my Sarah.
Nobody cares.
I think the cut content around Ren Serizawa was also setting up where the franchise would head to next. Remember, this movie was already well into pre-production when King of the Monsters underperformed. As such, it's likely that some of the cut materials were meant to set up where the Monsterverse would head next after the big title bout. And the answer all lies here. I mean, let's be honest here. One of the clunkier, more awkward parts of this movie is how both Ren Serizawa and Ghidorah's head are both needed to activate Mechagodzilla. I mean, in the final movie, it basically goes like this.
Hardwired, it's DNA. Self-generating neural pathways capable of intuitive learning. It had 3 heads. Its necks were so long that communicated telepathically. There's one here, another one inside of that thing.
Alright, since this was a bunch of scientific gobbledygook, let me try. They needed the psychic powers of Ghidorah's skull to filter through a human brain in order to pilot a giant mech for reasons. It is long, it is awkward, and if you pay attention to how many lines about this thing get said in ADR, it's probably not what the original intention was. For those who don't know, the letters ADR in filmmaking stand for Automated Dialogue Replacement. It's the process of re-recording dialogue after filming to improve the quality or make changes to the original script. Now, you can usually tell bad or rushed ADR dialogue in one of two ways. Either the audio quality shifts slightly,
Doña Madani. Poor woman has tuberculosis.
or the dialogue doesn't perfectly match the character's lips.
Yes, your opinion.
Since matching the audio up completely to the original scene is incredibly difficult and time-consuming, many movies cover up ADR by not showing the actor while they're speaking on camera. A recent high-profile example of this is with the Disney Plus series Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where an entire
Haven't
central
watched
plot
that.
line about a global disease had to be cut because of the current world situation, and as a result, most lines about the actual plot of the series are said off camera.
I want the serum back, or I will find you.
Notice how the mentions of the serum happen without anyone on screen? It implies that those lines had to be recorded later and merged in whatever footage that had already been shot.
Let's watch the lip sync, okay?
Now, how does this apply to Godzilla vs. Kong? Well, notice how any and all lines about Ghidorah's skull or the upgrade are spoken with Ren off camera. And pay attention to the audio quality, which has slightly more reverb and hollowness to it when he's the one speaking.
We have no idea how this energy source will affect the mecha.
Get in the goddamn chair.
It implies that there is more to the plot than the skull only serving as an energy source. My guess was that Ghidorah was eventually meant to possess Ren Shirazawa. And if you think that sounds insane, remember that the final plot of this thing that they expect us to roll with is that the dead space dragon demonically possessed a robot via Wi-Fi. So really not that much further of a stretch. Here's the thing. This
agree.
one small change of Ghidorah possessing Ren, 1, makes everything a little bit clearer, 2, gives a reason for a pilot having to be inside the suit, 3, makes sense considering they already talk a lot about Ghidorah's psychic powers, and 4, it sets up a villain for the future movies. That's right, after you've already done the big battle royale with all the famous monsters, and then the big monkey lizard fight, there's nowhere else to go except Mecha Ghidorah. Yeah, that is a thing. At one point better known from imported Godzilla
Mecha
toys
Ghidorah.
than from films, Mecha Ghidorah was a cyborg introduced in 1991's Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Like a lot of the second wave or Heisei era Godzilla films, its broader plot was a kaiju stuffed riff on popular international blockbusters of the era. In this case, the movie they were riffing on, believe it or not, was the Terminator series.
I'll be back.
No joke. In the main story, time
the
travelers
hell?
from the future come to Godzilla-ravaged present-day
Oh,
Japan,
yeah, they
offering to
time
help.
travel.
They
I
do this
forgot.
by going even further back in time to the 40s to prevent Godzilla's mutation. But wait, there's a twist. These time travelers are actually a multinational coalition of villains whose real agenda is to prevent Japan from becoming a world economic superpower. They do this by leaving adorably merchandisable baby Ghidorahs to get mutated. One thing leads to another, and eventually the good guys turn the remains of the defeated Ghidorah into a human-piloted cyborg. Adding to the weirdness, it was also supposed to be a King Kong movie. Yeah, the plan was to do a huge Godzilla event movie specifically timed to the 30th anniversary of King Kong vs. Godzilla. And since Toho figured correctly that Universal and the other rights holders to Kong would never let them use the character for a reasonable price, they set the storyline up with all the time travel and robotics to justify using Mecha Kong. But when their lawyers figured that, yeah, the Americans will probably find a way to make that not okay, Toho decided that Ghidorah Robot would be a solid runner-up. So my guess is that the death of Ren Shirazawa in the pilot seat of the mech was actually meant to be a possession in the pilot seat of the mech, meant to keep the ongoing monster villain of the series alive, waiting to strike again. But when the future of the Monsterverse became unclear, all references to weirdly supernatural stuff like that had to get cut, including any end credit scenes alluding to Ren still being alive and under the control of the giant space dragon. And there you have it, theorists, the secret plot to Godzilla vs. Kong that you'll never see. Ren Shirazawa, looking to get revenge on the lizard that killed his father, joins forces with Apex to control the monstrosity known as Mechagodzilla. When Ghidorah is too much for the suit to handle, he gets possessed, which opens the door to more mechanized dragon madness in future installments. Would it have added
That would
much
be
to the final
cool.
movie? Probably not. No one watches these things for the humans. But would it have made the final product we got a bit more cohesive? Yeah, probably. And also, because
Also
of those
true.
cuts, this movie felt like a definitive end for the characters. No end credit scene, no nothing. And yet, it was
Yeah.
very clearly a hit in the box office, meaning that they're gonna want to make more. So the long story short, friends, don't be surprised if the next film's trailer opens with a peek inside the wreckage of Mechagodzilla, only to have Ren's eyes pop open. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And it's springtime over here at Theorist HQ, and you know what that means.
Okay, it's a sponsor. So yeah, that was the Godzilla vs Kong, the version that they didn't want you to see. Again, I would say that because again, Ran Surizawa was supposed to be the son of Ken Watanabe, right? Which is Ishiro Surizawa. I think that's his name. From Godzilla 2014 and Godzilla King of the Monster. He's like the best characters in those movies. If I'm being honest here, like the characters that actually give a shit. The rest of them just like and then Ran Surizawa was appearing. I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna get some sort of a backstory between him and Dr. Surizawa from a previous movie, his dad, literally. Like, but no, like we didn't have that at all. And I think it was pretty obvious that I like to believe that Matpat has like Matpat theory here is kind of true in some way. It kind of makes sense, right? Even though yes, he does have a point that we don't give a shit about the human characters, right? The only human characters that I actually really care about is actually Gia. Gia, which is played by Kaylee Hotel. Sorry, Hotel or something like that. I mispronounced her last name, guys. I'm sorry, but Katie played Gia, and I think that's the characters that I only cares about, on Godzilla vs Kong. And then yeah, I mean, I kind of want to see the uncut version in some point, just to see where they're going forward with this. Even though yes, it seems like by the end of Godzilla vs Kong, it seems just like the story just end like that. But at the same time, we all know that it's not going to end, because the movie is successful, thankfully, right? I hope that in the future we get to see more Godzilla and Kong teaming up against something. Hopefully, we get to see Destroya. That will be, or Destroya, I think that's how you pronounce it. That would be cool because Destroya is actually a really, tough Godzilla opponent. So it would make sense to put Godzilla and Kong to defeat that monster, Destroya. And they already have the Oxygen Destroyer from Godzilla King of the Monster, so why not bring him into the Monsterverse, right? So hopefully that movie can happen someday in the future. And yeah, the other thing is about Zhang Zi characters, which is basically the Shobijin in this Monsterverse. But Shobijin is basically the two or twin fairies, you could say that, or twin sister. Also fairies, which is basically connected to Mothra, the queen of the monster. And Zhang Ziri character was supposed to be a reference to Shobijin because again, like she was twin, right? I think third generation, I think, of Monarch. I think she said that in King of the Monster, and then obviously she kind of makes some connection to Mothra, which is really cool, And when they announced that she's going to be in this movie, I was like, okay, I want to see more of her characters because her characters is not annoying, I kind of care for her characters, I think Zhang Ziyi play her characters really good in King of the Monster, and I kind of sad that I didn't really see Zhang Ziyi in this movie, like what was her role, right? Maybe I guess Mappa just said it here that she was supposed to be connected to Ran Surizawa in some way to, explain why Ran turned evil in some way, you could say that. Which is, kind of makes sense. I think that's going to be Zhang Ziyi's role for Godzilla vs Kong, or maybe she's going to find another Mothra egg or something like that, because again, she's the Shobijin in this Monsterverse, so it would make sense that if she appear and then make some reference to Mothra, that would be really cool. But she didn't appear in this movie, which is like, okay, and then Lance Reddick, I think that's the actor's name, also plays some role in the final version for Godzilla vs Kong. He just appeared for like 1 minute in that scene, and then I think Adam Wingard does reveal that Lance Reddick character was supposed to have like a meeting or some sort, that he has a larger role. So I think this movie was supposed to be like at least more than 2 hours to say the least, but they just cut it down for some reason. I'm assuming just to get to the point and get to the monster fight, which is okay. I mean, that's what we all wanted to see, and I still really like the movie, but it would be really neat if we see Ran Surizawa backstory, why he turned evil, right? And then why he hates Godzilla, which I'm assuming that because Godzilla killed his father. I think Matpat even said it here on his theory. Or I'm kind of curious that if there's going to be more reason besides, you know, her father died. Sorry, his father died because of Godzilla. You know, I mean, his father sacrificed himself, you know, in order to revive Godzilla. But I'm really curious to see if there's going to be another reason, if we ever see the extended cut for the movie. But so far, the previous Monsterverse movie, we never see an extended cut for the movie. So I don't think we're going to see, you know, a longer version for the movie, which is kind of sucks. But you know, it happens. What can you do, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I still like the movie, but it would be really neat if we see more Ran Surizawa backstory, you know, and then maybe Kidora is like possessing Ran Surizawa. That would be really neat to see in the future if they manage to pull that off in the future Monsterverse movie. They could still do that, you know, even though it seems like Ran Surizawa died by getting electrocuted, obviously by Kidora, technically Kidora, but they could still do that in the future Monsterverse movie, you know, and it would be really cool to see Kidora possessing somebody and then posing as human and then somehow try to build something, I guess, just to defeat Godzilla and then take over the Earth again, you know, like King of the Monster. That would be really cool if they actually went that way, but we'll see where the Monsterverse go. Obviously, Legendary acknowledged that people want the Monsterverse to continue. I think hashtag continue the Monsterverse was actually trending when Godzilla vs. Kong came out, and then Legendary acknowledged that, and then I think John Roberts, the director from you know, Kong Skull Island, even acknowledged that, and then he would want to continue the Monsterverse, so that's neat. So hopefully, I think the Monsterverse will eventually continue in the future, because I think Toho is trying to make their own Godzilla movie this time, you know, because we got Shin Godzilla in 2016, and then right now Toho is actually waiting for the contract from Legendary to over, so they can make their own Godzilla movie, you know, Godzilla universe, you could say that, in a much more darker way, you could say that. So I don't know, man. I don't know when we're gonna see the continuation for the Monsterverse. So I hope it's continuing. It seems like it's going to be continued, but we'll see what happens. I think they could do a Kong movie because they own the right? They don't need to ask Toho for permission, obviously. But so they could do a Kong movie if they really want to, just to wait until they can get the rights back to Godzilla from Toho. Just saying, and then maybe Godzilla and Kong again teaming up to fight Destroya. That would be really awesome. But yeah, that's my thoughts about Film Theory. The Godzilla vs. Kong they didn't want you to see. I hope that this theory is true about Ran Surizawa being possessed by Kidora, and then his backstory as well, and the Zhang Zi role and all that kind of stuff. Like, that would be really cool to see if they're going to release an extended cut, you know, for the movie. And then, yeah, again, good job by Matpat. I hope that this theory come true, and you guys can let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about this film theory right here. Do you guys agree with Matpat saying here? Do you guys think that Matpat theory is true, but Ran Surizawa is actually having more backstory, or like possessed by Kidora in the final version, you know? And what do you guys think about Zhang Zi role for Godzilla vs. Kong? If you have any idea for that, or you know, so you guys can share them in the comment section below. I like to hear them. And if you guys do you guys want the Monsterverse to continue? Then you know, you can let me know in the comment section below. And if you guys want to watch the original video, then I will leave a link in the description below. As always, make sure to check Film Theory's channel. I will leave the channel's link also in the description below. And subscribe to Film Theory, show some support. And if you guys enjoyed this video, then please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Ring the notification bell, and you know, share this video out there. And I just want to say thank you for everybody for the support for the channel. You know, either you subscribe to the channel or watching my videos or liking my videos. I really appreciate that, guys, so much. And I really hope you guys can continue support for the future. My channel is not just gonna be Five Nights at Freddy's the entire time. You know, I'm trying to do something else. So, but I need your support to do that. So I hope that you guys can continue support for the future. And if you're new, then again, consider subscribing to the channel and supporting the channel, obviously. And yeah, again, I really want to see this Monsterverse to continue in the future. That would be really cool. But yeah, I think that's it for today's video, guys. And again, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one then. Bye.